This is the third step of the typical retrospective and begins to be a little bit more high intensity and give back. So we've quickly talked about educate and brief. Now we're talking about focus. So focus is all about driving deeper into the few critical objectives that are important for the organization's success. Remember, OKRs are all about focus. We're now shifting into a performance meeting. So this meeting is about gaining insights from all the participants. This is really important. We're trying to make this a learning organization where we present ideas and everyone can contribute to our knowledge so that we can be a better organization going forward. So here are the steps. We want to focus the organization on those few critical objectives. So the participants are typically the leadership team for the scope going through the retrospective, and then other people who are interested or invited, high potential players, and so forth. And I'm going to go through the content in detail, but basically the steps are, 1, we want to review the most important OKRs in the following way. In advance of the meeting, I want everyone to think about impact on and impacted by. Then the reporter itself is going to tell us for that objective, what were the wins, what were the losses, what shout-outs do we want to mention, whether it's employees, teams, departments, suppliers, customers? What are the learnings? And then finally, what actions are they suggesting we should take based on what's occurred? And then there's an interactive section at the end where we want each area to capture what they think their team departmental actions might be. So I'm going to step through this in a bit more detail. So in terms of the presentation, think of this as how I'm going to report a certain objective. The homework is this. Each department in advance is going to take a look at that objective, whatever it might be, and I want them to answer for themselves 2 major questions. Impact on. So what did your department do that had an impact on the observed performance for objective ABC? So if objective ABC was solid green, we exceeded expectations, what did your team do that impacted on that exceed expectations? And then secondly, impacted by, given that objective's performance, how is your team or department impacted by it? So if it's great performance, maybe it's going to put stress on your team because you have to provide more customer support for the increased sales, or better documentation, better customer success capacity, that sort of thing. And even attribute it back to which of your OKRs were contributing. So in this way, everyone in advance of the meeting has taken a look at objective ABC, one of those 3 high priority objectives, and done their analysis of what their department has done to contribute to that objective's performance and how it's impacted by that objective's performance. Then in the meeting itself, we'll have this available and we'll review it. But the reporter for this objective is going to take us through several things. One is, what are the wins? And I'm suggesting you just identify 3 wins. Where did we make great progress this quarter? Losses. What happened that were behind expectations for this period? And then shout-outs. It's important that we recognize exceptional performance, whether it's internal, external, department, team, individuals, and so forth. And then learnings. So what are the key learnings that we should walk away from? And then finally, what are the actions to be taken? And these 5 sections are a bit of a briefing. There'll be some interaction, but the interaction really begins here. What we want to do is for each department, based on what happened in the previous quarter, what are the learnings? What objectives of yours are impacted? And what might the new outcome be based on what you've learned? And we should harvest this as a team. So again, in my example, if objective ABC was super green, exceeded expectations, then what does marketing, what objectives are their impact, and what do they need to do next quarter to respond to that exceptional performance? So in this way, we've focused on the key objectives. Everyone has thought about it in advance of the meeting. We've been briefed in the meeting, and then as part of the meeting, we collectively agree what we think we need to do to achieve success for the organization. We'd love to share more of our ideas with you. There are probably about 300 YouTube videos that we've recorded that you can find on our YouTube page. We also write a continuous series of blogs about OKR and related topics. Or feel free just to give us a phone call or email me. Happy to have a conversation about any of these topics. Talk to you soon.